Welcome to LifePoint TV. I'm Pastor Dale Phillips, your host for LifePoint, your path to real life. We are studying in the 33rd chapter of the book of Exodus, find verse 14 and verse 15. And we find recorded these words, and it says, He said, My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. This is God speaking to Moses. Verse 15 is Moses, his response to God. It says, And he said unto him, If thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. The emphasis on the latter part of that verse on Moses wanting to make sure that God understands that he does not want to go, nor does he want to lead this people into the land of promise without being in God's presence. That's our focal point in this study, in his presence, understanding how God's presence greatly impacts and influences our life. How we live is affected and even affected by God's presence. We've been looking specifically at some important factors. What is absent when God is present? First, we identified that fear is absent when God is present because we learn in Scripture that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. That's what Paul says to young Timothy, his protege, his mentee in ministry. Then we also looked at the fact that weakness is absent when God is present. Let the weak say what? I am strong. Why? Because we are in the presence of God. Again, Paul referencing in the book of Romans this time, he says that if God is for us, who can be against us? So there's no fear, there's no weakness when we are in the presence of God, recognizing that God is present. He's not absent, He's with us. There's something else that I want to underscore. As Moses is in conversation with God in the mountain of Sinai, the place where God gives him the Torah, the law, that will give discipline to how man is supposed to live in his relationship with God and how man is supposed to live in his relationship with his brother. Moses also understands that in God's presence, listen to me, there is absolute certainty, clarity. There is an ability to know with certainty what God expects, what God desires, to know what God is requiring of us and how He wants to lead us. When we are in His presence, there is certainty. First of all, there's the absence of fear. Secondly, there is the absence of weakness. And finally, in this observation, there is the elimination of uncertainty. We are absolutely clear about who God is, what God expects from us, and what God desires to do in our life when we are in His presence. I cannot tell you. There are countless examples in my own personal life when I'm not sure, when I'm not certain about something. What is required of me is to get inside of God's presence, to find my prayer niche, if you will, to be able to hear God, shutting everything else out so I can clearly hear Him and hear Him only. Moses understood if he was going to lead this people, take them from the place of captivity, lead them through, listen to me, lead them through a wandering wilderness. He could not do that if God was not with him. Let me help you understand. Let me remind you, refresh this in your memory, that I don't care how intelligent we think we are, how sophisticated we might be, we cannot navigate our way through life without God being present. If Moses needed God to lead the people from captivity through the wilderness to get to the land of promise. Trust me, you and I, we need him every day, simply to navigate through the course, through the hallways, uh, uh, through the maze of this life that we live in. We need him to lead us so we can hear with certainty, clarity, what God expects from us and what he desires to do in our life. This is Pastor Dale Phillips encouraging you to stay on the path that leads to real life.